Hello, people from Innova. I'm Mirian, and I work as a researcher in the Technology Center. It's a pleasure to be here with you in this session. And today we'll talk a little bit about packages that have been changing, and increasingly more, the packages are part of the product. Packages have been created to make it easier to transport, store, and protect products. But over time, they were enhanced and got new functionalities. One of the examples is that with the markets, the products needed to be self-persuading the consumers, and the packages started to inform customers about the product and promote brands. Then the printing and design process of the packages became an edge. The other important landmark that we see in the packaging industry is when there was the need to increase the shelf life of products, and so the level of protection, safety, and resistance of the packages increased, and the protection barriers against humidity and lights became essential to convey and to guarantee the quality of the product. Currently, the concern with the consumers with a healthier food, reduction of waste, and more sustainable packages has once again changed the universe of packages. To talk about the new demands, we have a very important guest, Professor Nilda Soares, PhD at the University of Viçosa, and she will talk a little bit more about the new demands in the world of packages. Hello, Professor. Hello, Miriam. It's a pleasure to be here in this session promoted by Clubin to discuss a little bit about the innovations in packages. You said very well that the world has changed for packages, and more recently, we've had developments and innovations and a new segment that was called active and intelligent packages. This new segment is for packages that are to give greater safety to consumers, greater protection, and conservation of the food. Active packages are those that have incorporated into their material several compounds that can be incorporated, and it's important to say that because the compounds, when they are incorporated into a layer, any layer of the package, it needs to have the authorization for that. It needs to be a product that can migrate to the food. So, within this segment of active packages, we have a broad range of packages that have this incorporation and this protection added to the food. And in intelligent packages, we have those that will bring information to the consumer. Example, a product that needs to follow or to have a cold chain that has to be stored at a certain temperature. And if it's not stored in this temperature, there's a rise in temperature. The package tells that the product has left this cold chain. This is information, and we call it intelligent packages. So it's not only to inform the cold chain, but also we have to inform about the ripening of fruit. So these two large world of packages, active and intelligent packages, they in the last year, in the last 10, 15 years, have been taking long strides. Lots of breakthroughs has happened, innovations of different labs, and we've been following that. In our lab, for example, we've carried out research for active packages, those that have an incorporation of compounds, be it flavoring compounds, antimicrobial compounds, absorbing compounds like to absorb oxygen or others, another that you want the package to absorb from the product. So it's a broad range, like I said. And intelligent packages, they inform consumers, they let consumers know if there has been a problem. Also, when there is contamination, microbiological contamination, a biological growth that should not occur, and this can be detected by the package. So, these are some of the developments that we are taking to companies, the companies that produce packages, and they will store the food from the food industry. Very nice, Professor. Klabin, as a leader, as a Brazilian leader in the packaging, we have cardboard, we have bags, and we have cards to produce package. We follow the developments of packages, not only for these active packages, we have been studying surface treatment on the paper so that through a microbiological treatment we can increase the shelf life of fruit. Many fruit that are exported, they need a greater shelf life. And the studies that we have been conducting internally at Clubbing is to prevent the wasting of food. The other important thing that we need to stress is the constant pursuit for sustainable package. This is also a landmark that we have, especially when we're talking about the reduction of material sources and fossil sources, and this migration to sources that are renewable. And when we talk about renewable, that they are biodegradable, that can be recycled, so that we reduce the environmental impact. So I'd like to listen from you. This, how is it this change migrating from fossil sources to renewable sources? Miriam, this is really important in the package world as well. Of course, we are moving towards packages that are increasingly sustainable, those that can be recycled, the packages that when they go into the trash bin, when they're taken to landfills, they can be degraded. So they are biodegradable packages. These packages, we are looking for different types of sources, starch, paper, other polymers that can degrade the packages, that the microorganisms can attack and degrade the package. This is another industry. Our lab has researched that a lot. We're looking for these compounds that can degrade and accelerate the degradation. And the problem is that when we work in recyclable packages and biodegradable packages, especially the biodegradable, there are barriers that we have to face. So we are working to make these polymers, these compounds that can be used as a biodegradable package, that it can receive reinforcements such as nanocompounds. So you incorporate in this kind of polymer a non-fossil and biodegradable compound polymer, nanocompounds, so that you create barriers, oxygen, water, steam, so you improve the barrier and you can continue to have it biodegradable And this is something that we have been studying, and I'm glad that Klabin is also studying that. In our lab, we have several research carried out using these biodegradable polymers, trying to reinforce and create barriers and also allowing for biodegradability. So you get incorporation of compounds to increase the shelf life, but also to make the product as fresh as possible because the society wants fresh products, products that are not processed. And there are others work that we do so that you can preserve, especially perishable products, fruit, as you mentioned. We have been taking care so we can conserve it longer. We have the intelligent packages, so it changes the color as time goes by, letting consumers know that the fruit is still okay to be eaten. So together with that, we have developed some packages. Some are paper based so that you avoid contamination or decrease the perishability of fruit, like for example the stem rot. There are many different studies on that. So the future of package we'll have to go through these areas: sustainability, biodegradation, packages that are increasingly better protecting the food, but without too many additions, so closer to fresh as possible. And these packages will have to communicate with consumers. You said in the beginning, the package is helps to sell the product. We don't have a salesperson next to the shelf marketing the product. This has to be done by the package. So this process, the entire process, the marketing of the package, the design, sustainability, the shelf life, all these things are important factors. And I think that in the future, we will have packages with these parameters and characteristics. And the other very important thing that we have to consider, the pandemic has shown us that this year, is the contamination crossing borders. We know that we have a virus that has crossed the borders all over the world, so the packages will have to take that into account. It needs to be a protective factor to avoid packages to carry contamination, either through virus or microorganism or any other problem that can take a contamination from one country to the next. So the packages today and in the future, they cannot be inert. They cannot be it's just having a good design and containing the product. It needs to have an active role. It needs to act. It needs to deliver something to the product that is necessary, an antimicrobial, for example, and it needs to protect itself. It cannot carry microorganisms. And when we think about plastic or any other polymer, the compound, it carries microorganisms because they are very small. So these walls of the packages, the barriers, can be carrying some contamination. So the package will also have to protect itself. It needs to have something incorporated that prevents external contamination to adhere to its surface. So there are parameters that we'll have to take into account a lot, especially after the pandemic. Professor, thank you very much for your explanation. So we got to know about the new challenges, the new research, and demands that are coming. Clubbing is working strongly on that. We really believe that packages, paper, has an essential importance in these new cycles and demands for packages, especially when we talk about sustainability, recycling. And I'm very happy to be able to listen to you and to learn a little bit more about the new demands from packages. So I'd like to thank you very much for your participation, and I'll I want to hear your final remarks.
Ok, Miriam, eu
Okay,
é que
Miriam,
agradeço
I would like
enormemente
to
essa
thank
oportunidade
for
de
this
poder
opportunity,
discutir,
for being
refletir
able
um
to
pouco
discuss and
sobre
to
o mundo das
reflect a
embalagens,
little
não
bit
é?
about the
Sei que a
world of
Kalinke tem um
packages.
papel
I
e
know
uma
that
missão
clubbing has
importantíssima
a
nesse
very important
segmento
role and
de
mission in
prover
this
às empresas
field
produtoras de
of
alimentos e tantas
providing
outras
the
empresas. Eu
food
menciono fortemente alimentos
production
porque sou
companies.
engenheira
I
de
talk
alimentos,
about
então
food
meu
because
mundo
I
é
am
alimentos, não é?
um,
Mas eu sei que a
food
Kalinke,
engineer,
ela
so my
oferece
world is food.
embalagens
But I
para
know that
vários
clubbing
outros
provides
segmentos, mas
packages for
dizer
different
também
other for
desses
other
desafios que
industries
nós
as well.
vamos ter que
And I
ter,
would
né?
like to talk
O
about the challenge that
pós-pandemia
we are facing
vai
after
nos
the
trazer
pandemic.
muitos
We will
outros
have
também,
several
muitas outras
other
demandas que nós temos que ficar
demands,
muito
and we
atentos
have to
a
be
essa
paying
temática. Então,
attention
muito
to
obrigada,
these
Miriam,
new
pelo convite, a
demands.
toda a
Thank you
Klabin,
very
e
much,
estou
Miriam,
sempre à
for the
disposição para que a gente
invitation to
possa
clubbing, and
fazer
I'm always
discussões
here
como essa.
so
Muito
we can
obrigada.
have discussions like this one. Thank you very much. Thank you, Professor, once again.